Hello everybody, how you doing? This is episode 3. As we learned in the last episode, I wrote my first poem, Snowman. I hope it was as interesting to you as it was to me. Once I started writing, I just kind of took off on writing. So these next 2 poems I'm going to read to you, I'm going to read at the very front here. Then we're going to probably get to another 1 or 2 at the end of this segment. But I also wrote poems in iambic pentameter. I had a rhyme scheme on some of them. Most of my poems were blank verse, but I don't know all the iambic pentameter genre. I had a book on it, and I don't know what I've done with the book. It kind of explains all the rhyme schemes. So this one here, Forevermore, is in a rhyme scheme. So it's going to sound kind of cheesy, but it's one of my poems, so that's got to be part of the book. It's got to be part of the story. But Forevermore and The Heart of Friendship was the next, which is what these 2 poems are. Of course, as you read in Snowman, I had a lot of anger issues. And also, along with the anger issues, you get a longing for friendship. You get a longing for somebody to hang out with and do things with. And with us constantly jumping from place to place and going from here to there, from there to here, never having a chance to really make any friends, you don't have a chance to hold on to them. Because if you make a friend from a school you just go to and you get up and split, we didn't have the technology back then to hold on to those friendships. Once those friendships were done, they were done. You never saw them again. So Forevermore is, it's like I said, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and read Forevermore to you and then explain The Heart of Friendship. And it's basically the same. It's just a longing for friendship. So it's 1983 now. So I've gone through a few years so far. I'm 13. Forevermore. It goes, friends, they're when you need them. They're to help you. Great to have, truly yours. When feeling bad, to have happy times in song, always close to your heart. There, in soul and body, someone to keep for yourself in your bliss. Pretty well simple. Like I said, it's in a rhyme scheme, so yeah, anybody that knows anything about poems could probably figure out what the rhyme scheme was on that just now. So that's Forevermore. Heart of Friendship is basically the same as Forevermore. It's soul searching, trying to find relative peace through friends. Several months later, I'd found a friend. His name was, I don't remember, I think his name was Mark. He played a guitar. And him and my sister hooked up for a little bit there, for a boyfriend, girlfriend. He was older than she was. Mom and Dad didn't care. He was graduating school and everything. She was still in middle school, junior high, 6th, 7th grade. I was barely getting 8th grade. But anyway, he played guitar and he tried to use some of my poems and sing some songs with it, make some music out of it. Spent the night at his house one time, a couple of times, and we went walking in the pastures, just walking around, the moonlight, full moon, just walking around. He plays guitar, and then I gave him some ideas. He played some more songs. Well, no, he was walked the tracks with us a couple times. Me, him, and Amy went on the tracks behind our house. Walked a long time. We were friends for about a year. And he moved on. I saw a picture of him 2 or 3 years later. He went from a clean-cut face to a beard. He went back to hippie-ness. And that was the last time I saw him. I never saw him. Yeah, like I said, it lasted about a year. So that's what I'm saying. Every friend you meet, they come and they go and they disappear, and that's about it. Because it's just too much time moving around. So
sounds like the last time I was junior high. I was gonna go play recess with some of these friends I had to go because we just started moving.
Yeah. People come and go. They leave. So this harder friendship is based on that kind of friendship. And this is the third poem I wrote. I just kind of got right happy, so to speak. So the harder friendship goes, this is like a blank verse here. The heart is something deep inside you that controls your feelings about others. Sometimes it's filled with love. Sometimes it is filled with sorrow. When you're in love, Cupid's arrow of love has pierced it, but it dies away when your love leaves. Some people have bad feelings. Some people have none. The heart is filled with either love, anger, sadness, or most of all, peace. So comprehending the heart to be the most important aspect in a friendship, you come to understand money doesn't buy the friendship, but the heart is indeed the key to any great friendship. And it's short, simple, and again, kind of cheesy.
But, I like cheese.
Cheese is good. You know, some young bucks, some young kids will like it. Some find it interesting. But for older people, it's kind of cheesy. But it is what it is. That's my third poem. Now, this fourth poem. A lot of my early poems dealt with anger, because I had anger issues, and I wanted to just beat the crap out of people and wanted to slap them upside the head and get vengeance on them. But vengeance is not the way to go. This poem here, "Dead Friends," is the name of the poem. It was one of several, other than Snowman, that was written out of anger. Of course, I went to school. My early years in school, elementary, middle, junior high, I had a bad day in school. I was 7th grade, and I finally got the chance to I was able to really stand my ground. And this little punk, he was supposed to be in high school. He'd been held back a couple of years. He was the toughest kid in school, by the way. Nobody wanted to mess with him. Nobody bothered to pick fights with him. I don't care who you are. You get in my face, I'm going to fight you. You force me, I'm going to fight you. That's who I am. I don't back down from people. I just don't. And this is my first few days in this school here. And I didn't know anything about racism. I wasn't concerned about it. I wasn't bothered with it. I didn't know there was an issue. So we had about 7, 8 black guys sitting at this table here, and there's an empty spot right here at this table. There's about this big, about a 10, 12, about 4 or 5 chairs of empty chairs sitting there, and no one was sitting there. So I got my lunch and I sat down at that table and I ate my lunch. And I was about 3 or 4 chairs down from them. They looked over at me and I was like, "What the hell are you doing here? Aren't you in the wrong spot? You're in the wrong area. You're eating over here. What are you doing over here? What's your problem?" And come to find out, this dude named was Robert Hill. He was fussing and complaining around to everybody. "What's this dude's? I'm gonna kick this dude's ass and give him sit in my spot, sit in our table. What's he doing sitting there? Did anybody tell him? I said, I responded the way any other kid would respond. You want to threaten to kick my ass? I'm gonna stand up, tell him I'm gonna kick your ass. I wasn't worried about it. I wasn't concerned about it. And of course, how kids are. They hype up confrontation. And it was the last period of school. I was in the PE. I was sitting there on the bench, minding my own business. And of course, all these kids had done hyped him up, got him all riled up, and he came up to me. Of course, I stood there. I got up off the bench, looked at him in the face, and he started mouthing off. And he put his hands on me. He started kind of pushing me. trying to get me to hit him, swing at him. After about 4 or 5 times, and him pushing my shoulders against the bench there, I swung at him. Now I heard he dodged back a little bit, and I popped him on the knuckle, and I bruised his knuckle. He didn't like it too much. He kind of looked at everybody's, ooh. I give a shit less. I swung back. And then he decided he wanted to slap me, and that was a trigger. Once he slapped me across the face, I darted out of the way, and we went at it. He'd hit me, I'd hit him. He'd hit me, I'd strike him back. He cut me on the eye, and I blooded his lip. And we went toe to toe. And this little dude, he's, like I said, he's about 3 or 4 years older than I am, and twice my size. And he couldn't understand why I wouldn't go down. But I wasn't going down. I was not going to go down. And the coach came out of the office and saw what was going on, called him off, and he started to walk off. And I stomped my foot and I said, "Get back here, you son of a bitch. You ain't done with me." And the coach called me. And so we both had to go we have both went to the principal's office, and everybody was looking at me. They looked like I got this little cut above my eye, and they're staring at me. So he went toe to toe with Robert Hill. He went fighting. So whispering, gossiping, humoring, chit-chatting, talking. And we're sitting there in the office, and he threatened to jump my ass again. I said, "Go ahead. I wasn't afraid of you before, I'm not afraid of you now." He just kind of looked at me dumbfounded, and he was like, "You're crazy, dude. I just put a gash on top of your eyelid there, and you still wanted to fight." I said, "Yes, I am." I was that pissed off. I was that angry. Because I had no idea why it was an issue for me sitting there to eat my lunch. Why was it an issue for him that bothered him so much that I was in his territory. So we served our suspension.
Or sentence.
Our sentence. We served our sentence. I got back, and everybody seemed to look at me in a different aspect, in a different mindset. Even him. He looked at me in a different aspect. He didn't want to fight with me. I even had one girl, a 9th grader. I'm 7th grade, and she sit about 2 to 4 tables across from me, sitting there licking her chops, teasing me, wanting to get a piece of me in the other manner, the sexual manner. Of course, I'm young. I'm 7th grade, and I've never had any experience with it, so I didn't know how to react. I just looked at her, smiled, and she just kind of looked at me lustfully, and I went back to eat my lunch. A few weeks later, this little kid, same grade I am, he wanted to get kind of agitated. I got aggravated at him, and he already saw what I did. Everybody in school knew what happened. And every time I'd walk up the steps, it's a 2-floor building. We was going up the steps to the next class, and he was mouthing off on the top step. Every time I'd walk up the step, he'd walk up the steps more. He kept his distance from me. He was mad, but he didn't want to tangle with me. He didn't want a part of me. And that's the kind of anger issues that I had. And I just, you wanted to fight, we'll fight. I didn't care. I mean, I wasn't going to start anything because that's one thing I was taught. I don't start nothing. Anybody starts a fight with you, you finish it. That's what I was instructed to do. So that's what I did. This poem here in question, I just had a bad day. I had a really ugly day. I just wanted to knock everybody's block off. I came home, it was the same situation, same scenario. It's like everybody had a bad day that day. So, like I said, I understood getting vengeance was wrong, and that's why I carried the rest of my life. I don't go out of my way to pick a fight. I just don't do it. Matter of fact, I tried to avoid fights.
Stand your ground.
I stand my ground. I tried to avoid my fights until I'm forced to stand my ground. So this Dead Friends is me wanting what I wanted to do.
Oh, shit.
But, you know, that's why I went to writing poems. This way here, I can express how I felt. And like I said, it's going to offend some of these poems may offend some people, and some of these stories may offend some people and within my family, but they got to understand there's no offense to be taken. We eventually make up. We eventually get to start talking and kind of put the past and let bygones be bygones. But this is how you made me feel, or they made me feel. This is how I felt, and this is how I expressed my displeasure. Or if I met somebody, that's how I expressed my pleasure. Or sometimes my mom would just go on a wild trip, and I would just create a wild and fanatical story. You'll see some of that later on too.
I do that all the time.
So I'm gonna read Dead Friends to you. We now changed years from 83 to 84 now, and I think I missed over something here. I'm getting close to being 14 now. I think I'm still 13, but I'm coming upon my 14th birthday. So this is right here. I'm still 13 when I wrote this one. Dead Friends. From this message, I promise, all friends and foes, I'm out here in this cold and cruel world, waiting for my chance to get extremely even. May it be day or night, keep on watching, for I am near. For when I do strike back, blood and bones shall scatter all upon the ground. Bloody murder shall be seen throughout the town. Although I may be dead or walk as if a zombie, remember, I'm a madman, out of revenge over something, but not knowing what it is. I come to your home and I glare at you from the many hidden corners. For while I still had life, you shut me completely out. A scream from your lungs, I now know your pain awaits. Beware and be afraid. There is nowhere to run. You are coming to join my many, many dead friends. Say goodbye to your world, your precious world of the living. And that is Dead Friends.
Kind of dark, don't you think?
Yeah, some of my poems, they get dark. They get real dark, and they get, like I said, when you feel the anger and animosity, sometimes what you write is dark and eerie and creepy. But it is far better to write a dark and eerie and creepy
Then act on it.
than act upon it. You know, because if I'd act upon how I felt, I'd end up in prison somewhere, probably the rest of my life. Which is why I don't drink, why I've never done drugs, why I've never taken any kind of enhancement chemical to alter my state of mind.
You're afraid of what it will do.
I was afraid of what it might do to me. If I take my anger and my temperament issues and I combine it with enhancement chemicals like alcohol or drugs, I would not have any control over whatsoever. I barely had control of what I did. I barely had control over what I did. But if I'd have done other stuff to alter my state of being, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'd either be in a grave or I'd be in prison. So it's better for me to write my poems, write my poetry. Now, not all of them are dark. Not all of them are dark. There are some lighthearted ones. There are some that are fun. And there are some that are fanatical, fantastical. And some will make you think whether I was on drugs.
No, we're just crazy.
But there are some poems out there you will think, was he on cocaine or heroin or something? You know, and I'm saying, no, I've never done any of that. It's just what goes on up here. It's the mood I was in.
Like I said, we're just crazy.
Now I'm gonna read a series of seasonal poems. So I figured while I'm getting my writing career going, my poetry started, I might as well write 4 poems about seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. So this next grouping is my contribution to Mother Nature poems. So I got away from the darkness and I got away from the mood stuff and just wrote poems about the seasons. So because every writer you ever come across that does poetry has something to do with seasons. So this is my take on one. The first one's called Spring Cheer, and of course it's also some of these most of these seasonal poems are in iambic pentameter.
What?
Iambic pentameter.
What's that?
Iambic pentameter is a rhyme scheme of poetry. Syllables: A B A B A B B A B C A B C. It's the rhythm, it's the rhyme of the poem. Okay, some poems have slow, yo, fight, might, have the same word at the end of them that rhymes with the same word. Iambic pentameter.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had, like I said, I have a book. I have a book on it.
I have a poem book somewhere too.
And it's in there. It shows you all the rhythm patterns. But I used that book to do some of these poems. All right, here's Spring Cheer. Spring, a time of green fields, a time of beauty and many rains, a time of jubilant and fun games, a preparation for summer and enjoyment for cheerful souls. The next one's called Autumn's Cool. Autumn, time of colors and the falling leaves, a time of cool breezes to prepare for cold winters, the season for hunting deer, and of giving thanks to the Lord. It's simple. Not a whole lot of work put into it, but sometimes you don't need to put a whole lot of work into them for it to get its point across. Winter Freeze. That's the third one. It's my winter poem. Winter snow covers the cold ground, turning everything white and quiet. This is the cold, freezing breeze season. Blizzards are harsh. They create snowdrifts for skiers. Delight on slopes. That's kind of more of a dope feel to it because the bigger, stronger words. And the last one on the winters of the seasons is the summertime fun. Of course, everybody loves the summertime poems because they're all the more excited. Excuse me. It's summertime. The sun is shining bright. The people are basking as they lay all about. Some are swimming and playing and just having a good time. Some are hiking alongside mountains and down into known trails and streams. Summertime is a time of joy, but there's over one problem. Summer usually whizzes by. So while summer is still here, enjoy it as much as you can. And that's my take on the seasons. I'm in study hall, and one day And I said, like you said a while ago, some of my tones get fantastical. I create fantastic stories, worlds, um, alternate universes, so to speak. This is the first of those. I think you might like this one. And Jacob, I think you'll like it as well. I don't think you've heard this one before. If you have heard it, it's been a while. But there's a phrase called "the wheels went flat and the engine fell apart." Well, I decided to use that phrase into one of my poems. And what this poem is about, I was sitting in study hall, and I kept in school, and I kept envisioning this band at a rock concert. And while this band was playing their concert, all hell breaks loose. The stage begins to fall apart. The audience turns into zombies, and their instruments begin to fall apart on them. And they try to escape into a bus, but eventually they are caught by a supernatural force. And so it was hard for me to concentrate on my studies because this storyline was just going nuts through my head repeatedly, and I kept trying to put it together. And I was I'm trying to do my studies, but in the midst of trying to do my studies, this was going haywire in my head. So I couldn't wait to get home. So I sit there in the study hall, and to put my mind at ease and give it a break, I decided to put this poem together in study hall. Study hall is usually about 60 minutes, which is more than enough time for me to write this thing down. And then when I got it home, I would edit it, and I would omit stuff and add some stuff to it to make it sound better. But this poem is called Instrumental Disaster. It is exactly what it says, instrumental disaster. And as I read into the poem, you begin to think, I think he was on drugs. Oh, I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't anywhere near cocaine or anything. I wasn't doing any pot. I wasn't drinking. I'm about as straight as you can get. Until you read this poem and think otherwise. Or hear the poem and think otherwise. Like I said, this poem is called Instrumental Disaster. In a concert not long ago, the lead guitar singer broke down halfway through the show. The drum set grew holes and fell to the floor. The trumpet melted and puddled on the floor. The audience cheered on, thinking that it was part of the show. The band, though, played on. The piano, the organ, and the bass guitar, but soon they too were destroyed. The piano's keys were chunked into the air. The organ collapsed and the bass guitar shattered. Then as the band stood firm, the audience glazed over. They stared straight ahead. They didn't twitch or move a muscle. They looked very pale and white. Suddenly the right wall crumbled. Then the left wall crumbled. The back wall, and finally the stage itself. The audience moved forward like living dead. The band grew frightened and ran fast away. Figuring it was over as they retreated, the bus suddenly stalled as the engine fell apart and the wheels went flat. The lead singer leaped from the bus. He figured something was wrong. A mysterious glow lit up the night, but as it dimmed, the bus was gone. Bewildered he turned and ran as fast as he possibly could. Suddenly, his guitar appeared as it floated freely in the air. It began chasing him. Please, he yelled, and the guitar vanished as if it were never there. He caught his breath momentarily, but his heart began pounding again as the bus creepily appears to his right. The door flung open and ghastly figures reach out for him. For a moment it was quiet. Not a sound was heard. But wait. The guitar returned and played the lead singer's song. No, I wasn't. No
Sounds
drugs.
like a
I wasn't wasted.
intro to a video game.
Yeah, it could be an intro to a video game, but just I got poems like that in my repertoire here. I got time for one more story here. Maybe one, or maybe two. Nah, just one. On a few frames back, we were talking about how I went to walk on these long walks on the tracks, and we came across this abandoned house. Me and that friend I was just mentioned, that's Mark character, we had went into this house because it was abandoned. There was nobody living there. We found some objects and some old books and some old furniture. We even took some stuff. Some of the old books for sure, because they were, they're books. You want to try to save the books. And he went back and he got some of the glassware. There was a china cabinet with glassware and stuff inside there, and he went and got some of that. There's broken objects. There's toys strung everywhere. The house itself gave off a musky odor. It was had a little strange stench to it, like it'd been there for a while. So I took it upon myself to make the house haunted, because you never know. A house like that being abandoned out of nowhere, everything's still sitting there. You never know what kind of spirits are attached to things. So why not call it the haunted house? And I'm going to read this last poem, and we're going to wrap this segment up, and that'll be episode 3. So this one's called The Haunted House, or just Haunted House. It's short, it's simple. Of course, also it's in a rhyme scheme. And so here it is, Haunted House. The haunted house is very spooky and very scary. Can make you shiver with cold. Can make you jump back in fear. Will cause you to shriek in horror. Very old. So be careful if you see one. Short, simple, to the point. I said we're going to wrap that up. We'll do one more. Yeah, we got time for one more here. Because I'm going to try to keep my episode between 35 and 45 minutes. And I've only got 33, so got time for one more here. The reason I started writing poems, because, like I said, I've got a lot of pent up anger issues. And sometimes writing fanatical or creating fanatical stories, alternate universes, and funny stories, science fiction stories, creating stuff like that made things a little bit easier for me to deal with. But still, sometimes anger will get the best of me, and I would have to write a poem about it to relinquish that thought process, relinquish that moment of anger. Because, like I said, I didn't want to hurt people. I didn't want to cause pain. I didn't want people to feel how I felt.
Causing pain isn't the goal of life. It's surviving.
Exactly. You want to find you want to find different ways to deal with stuff. There was a war going on inside my head. That if someone would look into my head, they'd be horrified of what was going on inside there. It would scare the hell out of people. And it wasn't something you wanted to see. It was like my brain was boiling with anger. It was boiling with anger. But, hurting people accomplishes nothing. It just adds more pain. I'll fight back when I have to. But if I can avoid it, I will. That said, the worldly beasts is me releasing a lot of that pent up anger, just like dead friends was another way of releasing all that animosity. I'm 15 now. It's my first year in high school, and this is my first high school point. Worldly beasts. In my room, I sit and think about the violence and hatred on earth. Our poor, poor earth. What pain I see. Into my mind we go, living a life of war. Hear it? Explosion. A head rolls down the way. Death. A graveyard of emptiness. The small town, the country, the city, and everywhere, be on guard, for your very existence may depend on it. Stay calm, don't panic. We are still inside my pain-stricken mind. I'm a torturing sight, aren't I? And with that, we'll end episode 3. Hope you enjoyed the series of poems. We'll have episode 4 out for you as soon as we possibly can. So with that said, again, take care. See you next time.